All right, guys, we're coming back here, ready to start the next game, and we have begun the countdown already, so I think it's that time, Breaky. You want to do our introduction this time? I think we need a good Breaky CPK introduction this cast.
Okay, let's go ahead and do this. It's kind of a... Alright.
Let's do this thing.
Ah, you screwed it up! Oh, I was so in the zone, you screwed everything up. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to be in the zone. You messed everything up. Alright, so hold on, let's try this again. Alright, welcome to the honcast.com presentation. I'm Breaky CPK, gonna be a shoutcasting ghost, and joining me is Ziori here as a co-caster, and this is the Raptor Gaming Amateur Cup Grand Finale. Yes, that's right, we have the Amateur Cup here. We are on the grand finale of it, and we have MCS taking on SAI in a best out of 3. This is, of course, game number 2 here with SAI, who is on the Legion team right now. They are currently up 1-0. So, looking forward to seeing what happens here in the second game. As I said, though, joined by Ziori doing the camera work for this cast here. How you doing, buddy?
Doing very well. An interesting first game, as we just saw. A Swiftblade Monkey King pickup. Certainly a little bit unorthodox, but interesting nonetheless. And I'm really excited to see what they have in store for us this match.
Yeah, that was quite the game there. I mean, again, it's one of those cases where. And again, it's nothing against the teams by any means, because this is always a good thing to do something like this, to get that experience. And the fact that they're in the finals here, this amateur event, it really does mean something. And again, they're competing for a decent amount of prize pool, $1,000 prize pool overall, so not too shabby there. But you could definitely tell it was more of an amateur style of game in the sense of the way it was played. Now, when it came to the picks and the bans, again, they weren't too bad. I mean, you definitely saw them, and it's like, all right, that makes sense. Obviously, the swift play was definitely a curveball, but I don't even necessarily think that was the biggest deal. That's why they lost by any means for MCS. So it was still fun seeing that at the same time. But yeah, we'll see if how both teams step it up this time around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if picks are a little bit more standard. It was interesting in that last match as well. We noted at the beginning of the picking phase, like, wow, with amateur teams, usually you can understand a lot about their play level just by looking at the bans and picks. But the first 5 picks, I'm like, wow, this is really spot on. All of these heroes are ban-worthy, pick-worthy, and then they started throwing the curveballs. Like you said, I don't know if Swiftblade was the weakest link, but really didn't prove to be super effective, especially against that silhouette, as we discovered now. Yeah. Silhouette serves a pretty effective hard counter there to Swiftblade, at least in the 1v1 scenario.
It was unfortunate, too, because I was actually looking forward to seeing a Swiftblade get farmed and seeing the true potential of that hero, of what he can actually do in that later on stage. So, with that crit passive, man, I mean, if you get him built up, he can definitely just wreck face. So, but we're not able to get to that point. We'll see if they surprise us again, though, as picks are happening here, but so far, again, nothing too crazy. I mean, the bans, speaking of that, we'll start with there. So, Wretched Hag, Torturer, Jirzaya, Keeper of the Forest, Tundra, Pebbles, Magmus, and Kraken. So, yeah, nothing too crazy with the bans. Obviously, Hag and Torturer both used last game here. Again, the funny thing about that, Hag right-clicking that Frostwolf Skull, purchasing that very early on, not even going boots, that was definitely something, but apparently that was enough to fear MCS into banning her, but yeah, nothing too crazy with the bans here, though.
Yeah, I mean, Hag made a great recovery in that last game, so I mean, she can be a very difficult hero to deal with, as it seems, despite what happens to Hag in the early phase, unless she totally gets destroyed in lane, it's fairly easy for a Hag to just bring that farm back, use that Sonar Scream, and just farm creep waves very, very effectively, and make a pretty good recovery, as we saw in that game. It really wasn't farming a lot to start things off, but then turned it around, pretty damn effectively. So, I can't complain too much with the bans in general. But, looking at the picks, again, both teams picking pretty straightforward heroes here. Tempest going to be first picked on the Legion team. Again, to reiterate, not too many junglers banned other than Keeper. I think Keeper of the Forest is actually the only jungler here banned. Yeah. So, not surprised whatsoever to see Tempest.
Well, I think it was you that made the point where, in these amateur teams, a lot more of the time we actually don't see them play the jungle heroes as often. Usually it is more of the 2-2-1 style setups, if that. Or 2-1-2 even. So, but yeah, this time around, our Legion team in this case, obviously as you mentioned, picking up the Tempest with a Was it the first pick? Yeah, it was the first pick over there. So, and they followed up with Bubbles Moraxis. So again, very, very powerful team actually in the making. And that's a lot of team synergy they got working there. And look at how they finished. So Glacius and then Monkey King. So once again, we are going to see Monkey King. However, it is in the hands of SAI this time around. So XSV, of course, I believe that's the guy that played Wretched Hag last time around. He's going to be playing Monkey King, and maybe one of those points of, you know what, you guys didn't do so well with this hero. We'll show you how it's really done, being made here. So, but overall, actually, you know, it's a pretty solid pick to finish there. I think their land's going to be pretty good. A Glacius Monkey King would be what I would expect with Moraxis Bubble solo. And then you have that over there.
Yes. And then we have a wild card Kronos pick. So I'm not sure what to make of that either. I mean, the Hellborn side, they don't have too bad of a lineup. They've got pretty solid lanes as well. Solo Polywog Priest, probably DS Kronos, and then Plague Rider Archer. So not bad lanes. Is there that synergy there, though? Is really what I mean, I guess with Kronos, you know, you have that Plague Rider ulti. You can stack it with Forsaken Archer ultimate, Demented Shaman as well for that minus armor. So, I mean, even Polywog Priest can sit outside and do some damage. So I guess there is some synergy there. You know, with Kronos, though, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. You have to be very careful. Those Kronos spheres can save the day, but also ruin the day pretty easily.
Well, yeah, and but again, though, it's a case of them picking two card carry heroes, obviously in Forsaken Archer and Kronos. Just like last game, it was Swiftblade, and well, again, that was a little bit different last game, I guess, with the Monkey. I don't necessarily consider him a hard carry, but a hero that needs a good amount of farm, and this is even more so, to my point, though, with Forsaken Archer and Kronos. So. That could always be considered a pretty risky play as well. You know, will there be enough farm to go around for both of those heroes to start doing the thing? Because if there's not, then you really just, why even bother picking up both of them if one's just going to be heavily nerfed? So we'll see, though, how that works out here for our Hellborn team. But I actually think they do have actually pretty good team synergy, as you're kind of listing off there. Especially with the Plague Rider ultimate on top of Chronosphere, and for that matter, the piercing arrows from Forsaken Archer can be very, very deadly. So, of course, Chronosphere also at the same time one of those kind of dangerous ultimates. You want to be careful not to screw over your own team, but that is actually a point to bring up too. How they built 4 range around this Chronos, so not necessarily may not be the biggest deal in terms of having to worry about them getting affected by the Chronosphere negatively. So.
Yeah, and if I recall properly, Breaky, the last time that we saw the Kronos ended up being more of a tank build used on Kronos. And he was kind of that initiator. I'm going to run in, throw my Chronosphere, be that tank that takes all the damage. And yeah, maybe they killed me, but the rest of you guys are going to be able to pound in a lot of DPS. So, you know, perhaps they're going to be, as you mentioned, is there going to be enough farm to go around for these 2 carries? Maybe it's going to be a case of Forsaken Archer being the recipient of most of that farm and Kronos being much more, almost like a Pharaoh, and that leap in and initiate to set up the rest of the team fight. That could be interesting as well.
Yeah, but then it brings up the question, you know, why not just get a Pharaoh instead? Kind of going,
well,
because they do have a Tempest for that matter, and Pharaoh obviously very heavily considered a counter against him. So, yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying, though. I could see that being a possibility. I do kind of remember that. What you're bringing up there, and it does make sense. I mean, if he does go like a Helm of the Black Legion first item, and, you know, into perhaps like a Shrunken Head, and just tries to get more beefy than anything, you know, Soul's Bulwark, Demonic Breastplate, Tempest here, by the way. This is kind of interesting. Plague Rider going to run right past Tempest, as if he wasn't even there. Was that actually a hiding spot? It doesn't seem like it should be. Seems like he should have spotted him, but didn't even really react to it. So I wonder if that was against not looking, or maybe it was an actual hiding spot. But yeah, but he's like, you know, we're not going to do anything. Let's just go to the lane. Tempest, though, with that said, he is jungling the Hellborn jungle, so this could be deadly for Kronos and Plague Rider up here, let alone our middle lane in solo Polywog Priest. They need to be able to be careful about this, and so far, no vision in their jungle. We'll see if they adjust to that, though, knowing that Tempest is there.
Yeah, and of course, Tempest does have that lane ward down, so we can expect they're going to try and be as aggressive as possible up here in the top, especially against that Kronos, regardless if he's going to play that initiator role or that just traditional hard carry Kronos role. He's a hero that you want to keep an eye out for and, of course, shut him down kind of as much as possible. So not too surprised to see that. We are going to see Demented Shaman here. Looks like he's going to wander up to the top lane, which is sort of an interesting play, and that will open up the bottom lane, which was Bubbles versus that Forsaken Archer Demented Shaman, to now a solo Forsaken Archer versus a solo Bubbles. So that's kind of an interesting play as well, rotating up that Demented Shaman. I think that's really going to hurt Forsaken Archer. I mean, a 2v1 against Bubbles, you could expect Bubbles to be pushed back pretty far, but now I mean, not only will Bubbles be able to pick up some farm, but also Forsaken Archer just not going to have that same free farm that she would with the Demented Shaman.
Well, you know, a big problem with this, too, I almost want to say our Hellborn team should have actually sent our Chrono Slate to the bottom, simply because especially if you're going to pair him up with a Plague Rider, you know, Plague Rider's efficiency with his Extinguish definitely loses quite a bit of it being at the top lane compared to the middle, especially the long lane, and the bottom in this case, because, you know, if he uses it too much, then it will get pushed up to the tower, and then it ultimately just pushes it back. So, Forsaken Archer going out with Bubbles Rider. Nice takeover from Bubbles, though, avoiding the crippling volley, but doesn't look like there's going to be enough damage in the end to actually get any kills, but yeah, so it kind of does make you scratch your head perhaps a little bit onto what ultimately our Hellborn team is thinking. Look at Demented Shaman dying to these minions here from Tempest, and he is going to end up falling to it. Oh my gosh, he was just walking around them. I think he underestimated big time the power of those minions, even at level 1, or I guess level 2 now, of how much damage they can do. So that was an unlikely Bloodlust kill, but coming out in favor of Tempest right there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you saw him go back in and drop the heal bomb, thinking I get maybe just severely underestimating both the health pool and the damage output of Tempest Elementals, but that was a pretty big misplay as far as conceding a Bloodlust kill. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what his plan was. I mean, he kind of roamed up to the top lane, but never made it to the lane, then just kind of moved around looking for Tempest. So, you know, I mean, Demented Shaman is already just, I mean, he's only level 1 still. He's pretty far behind level 1 and now 0-1-0. So that's really going to put him behind. Where is he going to go now that he's respawned? Looks like he's going to head to the mid lane now for a minute. I'm still really trying to figure out what Elf of Lorien is up to here, Breaky.
Well, I mean, again, what this simply comes down to is that the Hellborn side, they built a team big time around turtling, big time around we just need to farm up and eventually win that mid to late game, because by all means they will be able to do that. You know, the unfortunate thing about the lineup, not necessarily the most aggressive in roaming and getting kills early on. In fact, you see them jumping Tempest right here. The tongue tie's going to come out, and Tempest will end up falling. Moraxis, though, jumps in. He puts the Quake on a Demented Shaman, but that's not going to be enough for any kills to happen, and Moraxis will start falling back himself. So, but yeah, going back to the point, though, again, other than like Polywog Priest, and Polywog Priest by himself, you know, not necessarily one to be a solo kill artist like, you know, say a Bubbles or a Wretched Ag as the game advances on. I guess with the Ward Trap, that definitely will work, but he's very cooldown reliant with that said, and we'll have to wait for that every time. But bottom lane, we do see actually Forsaken Archer picking off Bubbles down there, so a couple of kills happening all of a sudden here for the Hellborn team, as I'm talking about their lack of kill potential earlier on, and maybe I'm a little bit wrong in that, but Monkey King will also take out Polywog Priest in the meantime at the middle lane, as he is also now the level 6 mark, so... But yeah, so the outlasting game is going to be what it comes down to here for our Hellborn team in terms of farming. Yeah. So
exactly. Up in the top, we're going to see Glacius in some trouble here. Glacius going to go down, but so does Plague Rider, so it's an exchange of the supports. But now Maractus may find himself in a little bit of trouble. Down in the bottom lane, all the while, Monkey King also manages to pick up a kill of his own, get some vengeance on Forsaken Archer, and Maractus will survive just fine in the top. So the Legion team still finding pretty solid exchanges all across the map here, and it looks like they may even be able to push Tier 1 Tower down here in the bottom.
Yeah, that's going to be big, more better news for our side team. By the way, I want to make sure we're synced up once again. A little bit ahead.
Game, you want to count it?
5:14, 5:15, 5:16.
You're exactly a second ahead of me.
Okay, here, let me just change that real quick. 22, 23, 24. Yep, that's better. Okay. Good stuff. But yeah, the push at the bottom lane coming. You see a vulnerability is going to be used right there to try to hold it off for now, at least Forsaken Archer pushing up. But Forsaken Archer, by the way, too, interesting stuff. Not going Skeletons or Split Fire, which would be weird, but not going Skeletons either, just going pure stats as well as the Crippling Volley here to start out this game. And it's not the most odd thing in the world, I will say. You know, there are a couple of players that, you know, are somewhat known for doing. I know Cakes for Clan Milk. He actually is known for doing this as well. I believe it's him at least, but yeah, so it's definitely worth pointing out. Obviously, won't have that push potential along with this Polywog Priest. So, but
yeah, it's. I mean, he has been static farming, hasn't really pressured towers, so I guess you could, you know, make a case that he doesn't really need it right now. The stats help him farm and lane a little better. They do add a little bit of extra damage as well as that health pool. So, like you said, not the most outlandish thing, but definitely not the most regular as well. But if you want to see something scary breaking, I mean, just pull up that GPM chart, and that's really spelling out the way this game has been going. Kronos has been able to maintain an okay level of farm, but As we see in this mid lane here, Monkey King, as well as Bubbles, just going to absolutely obliterate Polywog Priest. Monkey King just going to further his gold farm now. He's bordering a 400 GPM, which is obviously quite good. Only 7 minutes into this match, as we see up in the top lane as well. More action going to come. Tempest farming unbelievably well also, as it looks like they might be able to put some pressure on this Tier 1 tower at the top. Unfortunately for this Legion side, Tempest is only level 5, so not going to be able to set up an ultimate of epic proportions here, despite all the ports from the Hellborn side.
Well, you know, so talk about him being level 5. Look at Plague Rider, by the way, getting turned around by Moraxis. One Moraxis, no, the Unbreakable's applied, and that'll definitely keep him alive for now. Moraxis trying to get away, but nice time leap there from Kronos by Shift Break to actually get the kill himself. But that's what I was going to mention. Kronos wasn't level 6 either yet. In fact, he still isn't. They could have definitely had a big initiation fight right there if he had that Chronosphere, but wasn't level 6, so as you mentioned about the Tempest again, just like him, wasn't able to get a big ultimate off, but Tempest is now level 6, and is still hanging around up here. We'll have Ring of Sorcery up in 5 seconds, so we'll definitely be able to get enough mana for both the stun and that ultimate. In fact, there we go with the use. Okay, he's not going to get to that. There we go. They jump in. The Tempest ultimate to lock down Kronos. Not going to make sure he doesn't leap away. The Song of the Sea Silence after, just in case, but the burst damage enough to take him out. And right as that happened, I mean, it seems like the support just immediately left him. Obviously, Forsaken Archer is also up here. Not too often you see Forsaken and Kronos in the same lane this early on, but he was not able to do nearly enough to, let alone anything, to at least attempt to save Kronos. Now a massive tower push up the top lane here. I don't see MCS being able to stop this one either.
Nope, really not a hell of a lot they can do. I mean, just Demented Shaman and Archer sort of attempting at the deny, but Archer actually going to be thrown in a little bit of a bad position. He's going to get engaged on Demented Shaman. Going to do everything he can to keep Archer alive, but obviously not going to be enough in a 2v4 scenario, and Sailor Poon will go down to the hands of Bubble. So very unfortunate, and I mean, this Legion team may even just continue pushing here. Yeah. Really not a hell of a lot stopping them at this point. Tempest can keep making those elementals. The Ring of Sorcery, as well as that Ring of the Teacher, the pushing power here for this Legion side is actually quite powerful.
Yeah, Monkey King just continuing to do his thing in the middle lane. I mean, he's got another 1,100 gold saved up, 415 gold per minute. Is that a Soul's Bulwark being delivered? No, a lot of punch daggers on the courier. Holy crap. Going to be finishing Ghost Marchers, I'm sure. Moraxis, maybe, the other punch daggers. He's probably going to get his, so... yeah, it's going to have the Ghost Marchers now. Like I said, though, another 1,200 gold already saved up as well. And just pushing the middle lane. In the meantime, meanwhile, back to the top side, we do see a catch on a Plague Rider. Out comes our Chronosphere, but a little bit too late to save that Plague Rider. And will it be enough to get a kill on a Glacius at least? No, it will not. He will get away in our Chronos, but at what cost right here? Overextending a little bit too much. The wards come out, trapping Bubbles right there. And actually, that will be a kill onto him. You see the explosion, though, coming out, and Chronos will fall to the ground. So 1-for-1 between those two. Monkey King joins the party, and Polywog Priest gets taken out. And Forsaken Archer just trying to make sure she stays out of range before too much else happens. So, again, Forsaken Archer just seems like she's just a little bit too late to the party, not really able to do a whole lot for her team right there. And, well, easy one fight there for Sai once again.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Monkey King had double damage anyhow, so if that fight continued on longer, or Forsaken Archer was a little bit more engaged in that fight, I mean, Monkey King would have just done an absurd amount of damage. Archer going to come actually throw a volley, but now Forsaken Archer could be in a little bit of trouble here. Demented Shaman going to use a heal, but that will push the Hellborn side back and lead to a pretty easy tower kill yet again. Glacius actually going to be the one to pick up that tower. Monkey King flying all over the place. Going to find it engage onto Forsaken Archer. Going to connect with a stun. Moraxis is going to go in now. There's the Unbreakable, but it is not going to be enough. Archer's going to get taken out yet again. And Monkey King actually going to get credit for that kill. We're going to see Moraxis now in big trouble. He doesn't have an ultimate, doesn't even have a point in Arcane Shield. So he is going to fall, unfortunately. But still, I mean, this Hellborn team just, or pardon me, this Legion team just unbelievably ahead here only 10 minutes in.
Yeah, Monkey King is such a fun hero to watch again. If he, as long as he gets off to a decent start, I mean, how he just flies around. I mean, he glides around on this ultimate, and then he flies around on those big team fights. Is just hilarious. I mean, the fact that he closed the gap right there between him and Forsaken Archer in a matter of a second shows the power of that hero, let alone the damage that he can output if he gets on top of you with that early physical damage burst. So, and yeah, no doubt having a very successful game here once again. Does go for a Blessed or first item. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that turn into a Chronosphere here. Or Chronosphere, wow. A Null Stone here for Monkey King. If that turned into a Chronosphere, that'd be pretty epic. But Forsaken Archer will get picked off here. Again, you see Monkey King kind of helping a little bit. Ended up jumping into the Conqueror pit, actually, as he was flying around a little bit too much, but still able to assist with the kill right there at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, Forsaken Archer, man, we went from riches to rags, I get. I mean, I didn't even... Forsaken Archer's down to 100 GPM break. I mean, can't even finish her we can't finish out Ring of the Teacher, let alone Steam Boots. It's just a complete massacre at this point. I hate to sound like a negative Nancy here, but this is looking something reminiscent of a 15-minute concede. We see Monkey King, as you're talking about closing the gap, going to hop on top of Polywog Priest. Another easy kill here for the Legion side, and going to be able to pressure this Tier 2 tower down in the bottom lane pretty easily. But just looking at that GPM chart, I mean, I don't know what this Hellborn team can do to turn this around.
Yeah. Well, what they can do is just turtle, and hope that Forsaken Archer and Chronos get built up. I mean, that is literally the only hope right now. Literally almost the only hope right now for our Hellborn team.
You know, maybe a Treasure Goblin will spawn in the base.
They'll get some fat loots that will drop on the ground, or maybe it'll just be blues and Toma secrets that don't really do too much for you. But
yeah. I mean, at the very least, maybe he'll spew out a couple of gold coins. They can buy some items back at the shop. You never know.
That's very true.
I mean, at this point, that's
or you know what? When S2 adds a real currency auction house or a real currency shop, then save up money and buy one of those.
Drop $5.
Could you imagine that? You know what I need in this game? I'm gonna spend 10 cents buying a null stone in this game. It's only 10 cents.
Only 10 cents. Now we're talking about microtransactions. That takes microtransactions to the next level.
Yeah. It really does.
See the onslaught continue, though. Polywog Priest does get the wards off, but alas, not enough to secure his survival. The Legion team going to man up into the base, and it looks like they're all going to be able to survive, at least for now. Bubble's the only one in a little bit of trouble as Archer gets another auto attack off, but it really ain't hurting too much at this point. We're going to see Archer get taken down. Monkey King's going to fly in. There's a Chronosphere. Will be enough to pick up that kill onto Glacius, but I think it's going to be limited to Glacius here as the rest of the Hellborn team gets cleaned up. Chronos, the only one left alive. It just continues.
The game does continue, yes, that's very true. Obviously, 13.5 minutes in. Yeah, 18,000 gold lead. I mean, you see the bar at the top. It's not too often we really refer to that, but in a game like this, you can really see the extreme of the situation, how far to the right that is in favor of the Legion team. Monkey King jumping on the Chronos right there. Again, no kill coming out, but you just see the burst damage, and right away Chronos has to fall back and start doing some regen. I mean, you see the Plague Rider armor being applied. It's only level 1 right now, though, so only +2 armor. If he can manage to get that to level 4 somehow, I mean, the +8 armor will be huge. What? Did you see that purchase? Tempest. Look at Tempest. Look at what he just bought.
Nothing like Rift Shards and a Neo.
Nothing like the usual no portal key into Rift Shards build for Tempest.
Yeah, Ghost Marchers at that. That's a pretty rare pickup on Tempest as well, it seems. Oh my.
Well, they do need a hard range carry, so.
That's true. That's definitely true. Other items, I mean, Chronos does have his Sustainer, so looking at that, it makes me almost think that he was considering a Rune Cleaver, which, I mean, a Nullstone in this game would be a very odd choice for Chronos, so. Looks like he's going to be able to survive this little skirmish up at the top. The Plague actually going to come out. We'll catch a couple of bounces. They do secure that kill onto Bubbles after a nice tongue tie, but at what cost right here? They do sacrifice their Plague Rider, and no more man-ups coming from the Legion side. Tempest without an ultimate, not going to be able to get up there and really set anything up. But we are at that 15-minute mark here, so kind of at any point the Hellborn team could opt to tap out here. Of course, the Legion side is up 1-0 in this series, team size, so they do only need this game to take home that grand prize. Again, $1,000 worth of prizes on the line for this amateur tournament. Yeah. So, although some interesting plays, the prize pool itself really isn't too much to scoff at, considering it is an amateur event.
It is. It's actually very, very good. And with that said, it's oh my God, you just see Chronos. The illusion actually finishes them off. That's the funny thing right there. But big shout out to Raptor Gaming for sponsoring this tournament, helping with the prize pool there, and also. Who's the other organization? Let me pull it up. Digital Duels. Digital Duels is also the website that is going to start organizing more of these apparently in the near future as a result of the success of this first event. Then you got It's Gosu has definitely helped it as well. I know Dawes has been doing a lot of work with it, and he's kind of been the head admin too. So, yeah, big shout out to all three of those organizations and peoples doing work here. Conqueror being attempted by the Legion team, and you see Tempest critting for 300 right there. Those level 1 Rift Shards, man, doing work all over the place. They do have a Tempest crit. Not too often you see Tempest critting for that much, let alone critting in general.
Well, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
For Tempest, those are pretty big crits. Of course, no sight here at the Conqueror pit for really either team, actually, but Kind of a free Kongor kill here for, Team SAI. Going to further the damage token, going to end up in the hands of Mr. Monkey King, who has now moved into a Soul's Bulwark as well, so he's hitting pretty hard. He's going to get sheep, though, here. We can see him engage up at the top lane. Monkey King just going to man up, is going to try and catch Forsaken Archer here. Mirax is going to get caught in the volley. Mirax is actually going to get ward trapped. Does have that ultimate activated, absorbing a good bit of damage, but it is not enough, and he actually does end up falling into the hands of Polywog Priest. Seems some poor Miraxis here kind of continuing to be that meat puppet that gets taken down. We see a Champion of Neworth now coming after Monkey King as he finishes off Forsaken Archer. And a lot of pauses coming out in this game. So glad we're casting a replay here, Breaky. But this is like the 7th pause or something?
Strat pause. There's got to be a way to come back, yo. There's got to be a way to come back.
Strat pause on a strategy session. What can we do here, guys?
Take as much time as possible, but yeah, it's obviously, as you said, it's replay cast, so that's one of the very, very few upsides of doing a replay cast. But not having to worry about all that downtime in the matches, let alone in between matches, is a very nice thing. And we get to talk to our community in real time too. I know that we were both mentioning that. I mean, not having to worry about delay on our stream, it allows us to use the community as our co-casters, kind of. You know, we
really does.
We refer to them definitely as terms of.
It's great. You know, even one of those times when at those dirt moments, you make a silly call, you can see it right away in chat and be like, oh, it's much more powerful to sort of correct it. At least, even for me personally, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. That was a really stupid thing to say. Then
is that a wing bow?
Yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah, it's not a wing bow. 6 minutes in the future, and it's like, oh crap. Everyone's yelling at us, and we've already figured it out. Like, uh-oh. That is one thing I love, being able to see chat in real time. Especially also, I mean, even for tech issues, if there's lag, we can address it right away instead of that 6 minutes in the future. Hope this fixed it. So that is some positives amongst some negatives. Of course, casting live is always.
It'd be so much easier if we could just black out the internet. Besides Heroes of Neworth, for anyone that's actually playing in the matches, so we don't have to worry about them actually ghosting.
Yeah, that would be.
Solve all our problems. Why don't we just make that happen instead? That'd be so much easier. Let's be honest. More kills and stuff happening. Ooh, hat-trick coming out. Oh, we may see a quad kill, actually. That just keeps on happening. No, we're not going to see the quad kill as Plague Order goes down. So no annihilation at time. You see Cronus is actually DC'd right now, so they're kind of just, I don't know if we rage quit, if that actually was a DC. It looked like it was a timeout, so.
They did pause for him, so yeah. I would suspect it was a DC of sorts.
Well,
but
there we go. GG well played, and the official concede comes through, so. Congrats to Saishi. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. There we go with the annihilation at the end. Congratulations to him. But Saishi, a.k.a. Sai here, victorious 2-0, and they are your Raptor Gaming Amateur Cup champions. So they'll take home their portion of the prize pool, and also a solid title here is being tournament champions, which is always exciting. So congratulations to them. Really do mean it. And
certainly right.
Maybe a team we need to start looking at for future events, start competing in the bigger time events. We'll see.
You never know. They certainly came out the better team. A pretty quick 2-0 series in the finals. So at the very least, going home with a little bit of cash in their pockets. Like we said, not bad for an amateur event whatsoever, as far as prize pool is concerned, that is.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, that is going to do it for today, I believe.
Short and sweet today, I suppose.
Yeah, not too much happening today, but tomorrow. On that note, we do got a couple things planned. The first thing, as I think we're kind of deciding, it is going to be another replay cast tomorrow, but we actually realized that we happened to miss a series happened late at night, but there's the Planetronics tournament has been continuing. It's now in the quarterfinal stage. It's that North American event. $4,000 prize pool, though, so a lot of money on the line there. It's in the quarterfinals. And actually, Trademark Esports and Clan Milk, they met up in the first round of those quarterfinals. It's actually in a double elimination event as well, so the loser will be knocked down, the winner will move on, but they're going to be finishing up that series tonight. Unfortunately, they already played the first. Okay, well, I don't want to spoil anything, so never mind. We will be replay casting that tomorrow at, I believe we decided at 12 p.m. Pacific, which is 2100 Central European time, I want to say. So, and actually just about 20 minutes before now is when we'll do it tomorrow, so about a little less than 24 hours from now. And then after that best of the 3 series will lead into our podcast. Yes, we're bringing back the podcast, guys. It's definitely been a little bit of a break, obviously, as DreamHawn made things very busy and whatnot. So, but we're coming back with that. We're going to be doing a podcast and expect an awesome podcast for several different reasons. One being, we're actually going to be doing, we're bringing back Honcast Top 10 Community Rankings, guys. And we definitely have a fun feature planned with that, so expect that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And there's also, it's not 100%, but very good chance we're going to be announcing some very important information about the Dream Haunt event at DreamHack Summer 2012. So, a lot to talk about on tomorrow's podcast show. Again, that's going to be after, likely around something like 3 p.m. Pacific, which is actually midnight Central European time. But definitely tune into that, or if worse comes to worse, watch the VOD, as there will be plenty of information and plenty of things to talk about. So.
Yes, I mean, this is that time. It's esports time, man. We're in season. DreamHack is less than a month away, so I kind of, like, regardless of what game you're into, every gaming podcast has a lot to talk about right now. Everything has qualifiers leading up and preparations, and it's that exciting time, man. DreamHack is one of the more exciting times of the year for our industry, so I'm pumped up. Looking forward to podcasting, as always, Breaky. It's always fun to just.
It's always fun to talk.
I love it, man. Wouldn't be doing. If I didn't love to talk, I'd definitely be doing something else with my time. Right
Especially about Heroes of New Earth. It's just definitely fun. So, yeah, it's a fun day planned tomorrow. So that Best of the 3 series that leads up into the podcast. So definitely plenty planned. We'll see you tomorrow, a little under 24 hours from now, guys. I'll let you wrap it up since you're streaming, though.
All right, yeah, well, I mean, you pretty much covered everything that I had on my plate. Anything that we didn't cover or you're curious about, I'm sure we will cover tomorrow. But a non-amateur best of 3 coming up tomorrow, so I know not everyone is in the amateur thing. You know, it's nice, you know, get a couple laughs, see some interesting builds, a little more entertainment-driven than anything else, so I certainly appreciate all of the positivity in chat amongst the few naysayers. But always a pleasure, Breaky, and I look forward to tomorrow.
All right, see you guys.
Take care.